Disney Pixar's Monsters Inc. is arguably one of their best animated features, and while there was a game released in North America that followed the plot of the movie, it seems to be extremely difficult to find, and after reading the reviews, I'm not sure I bloody want to anyway. Meanwhile, Elsewhere received this strange little standalone game entitled Monsters Inc. Scare Island, also known as Scream Team and Monster Academy in other parts of the world. I'm not certain on the availability of the two console versions worldwide, but I do know that there was not only a PS1 release in the UK, but also a limited edition PS2 version. As such, this review is going to be a tiny bit different, in that I'm reviewing two versions of what is essentially the same game. For the most part, despite some minor additions and differences, they're pretty much identical. Because of that, I saw no purpose in talking about the games separately, but I wanted to include a variety of clips from both. Occasionally I'll make specific reference to the consoles, but for the most part I'll be showing random brief clips. So for anybody who's actually interested, the PS1 clips will be accompanied by this grey controller symbol in the top left, while the PS2 version will be represented by this black controller symbol.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Anyway, the game begins on, surprise, Scare Island, where Mike and Sulley have arrived at Monsters Inc.'s private facility in order to practice to become top scarers.
Yep, this game is a prequel, which I guess kind of makes Monsters University kind of like a prequel.
This is it, buddy. The big time. If we get through this, you and I could be the best screen-producing team Monstropolis has ever seen.
Now, I know it may come as a huge shock, but Sulley here is not voiced by John Goodman.
Never.
Yeah, we've yet more video game characters to add to the bad voiceover impersonations list.
Hey, I'm the monster.
Well, you're scarily bad at doing John Goodman impressions, I'll give you that.
Oh, but that's nothing. Just wait till you hear Mike.
Didn't I say not to remind me?
He sounds more like a cross between Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear.
Waka waka.
It's no big deal. It's only one of the most respected companies in all of Monstropolis. We'll be fine.
It's not easy being green.
For the PS1, these graphics don't look too shabby. They're vivid and crisp, and the animations are very smooth.
But I'm sure the PS2 version looks way better by comparison. Why wouldn't it? Let's take a look.
Yes, you and I could be the best screen-producing team Monstropolis.
You want to be scary, huh? Well, you're doing a good job so far, guys.
I don't know if this is just me or what, but to me, the PS2 graphics look creepy as hell. They're dull looking and frankly ugly. Sure, the characters and backgrounds are far more textured and fleshed out, but look at how bleak it is compared to the vivid PS1 copy. The first task is to complete the monster orientation, the very thought of which is making Mike hyperventilate.
Of course, as with any form of intense training program, it's understandable to be a little nervous. And I'm sure the level's music will too capture said intensity, won't it?
Welcome to the monster orientation.
You are guided by the ever-enthusiastic Roz, who instructs you through the basics in what is possibly the most tedious and convoluted way possible.
Amazing.
I say you're guided by her. Aside from her being pictured in a loading screen, you never actually see her, so if anybody for whatever reason decides to play this game without any previous knowledge of the source material, they're likely to be a little confused by the purposely tedious delivery.
You're doing so well.
Roz is her comically dry usual self, but after a while the slowness of the tutorial becomes disturbingly unironic. Initially, the moves aren't taxing in the slightest. You're taught how to jump, double jump, cling to ledges, attack, and perform a pounce that sees Mike or Sulley distill all their energy into one big monster smash.
He did the monster mash.
Hey, I said smash, not mash! Pay attention, man!
The most important part of the training revolves around scaring these robot substitutes for children on the island referred to as nerves. Collecting cans of primordial ooze fills your fright meter. Red cans are worth 5 times the green cans, and as the meter fills, the segments of your fright meter illuminate, representing various colors. Should you find a nerve corresponding to the illuminated sections of your meter, you'll be able to scare them, which involves simply tapping the button shown on screen. Once they're at the maximum fright level, the light on their head turns yellow, and you need to perform a finishing scare by pressing the X button. Blue nerves are the weakest and require only 1 scare before performing this final move, while red nerves are the toughest and require a minimum of 5 scares before this move can be performed. Try and scare a nerve without enough ooze, and they turn into a mocking middle-aged woman. Now, as you can tell, this is all really quite difficult to explain, and Roz's insipid, drawn-out speech doesn't exactly help with this. But it's actually quite simple, and the variety of scares by both Mike and Sulley are quite impressive. The PS2 version contains a few more scares than the PS1 version, and I personally find it kind of funny that Mike has to resort to using a ghost puppet to frighten a simulated child.
You know, as if a one-eyed green bad Billy Crystal impersonator wasn't scary enough.
Scaring 5 nerves sees you rewarded with a bronze medal. To achieve the silver medal, you need to find and collect all monster tokens in a level, while to achieve the gold, you must scare all the remaining nerves. Once you're through with training, the layout of the game is explained by Waternoose, whose PS1 model doesn't look too bad at all.
But as you'd expect, I'm sure the PS2 Waternoose is far superior.
Your first destination?
Holy shitting Christ on a cracker!
No wonder it's called Scare Island. Why not just save all our time and effort and just bring all the nerves here?
At Monsters Incorporated, we recognize that our strongest assets are you, our employees.
Whoa. Let's back up a bit. Let's see that again.
That our strongest assets are you.
That is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. That is the scariest thing you've done so far. Your future's looking promising!
Anyway, the game is divided into 3 parts, the urban, desert, and arctic training grounds. There's no reason provided for the change of scenery. I mean, let's face it, scaring a robot child in the desert is likely to be no different to scaring a robot child in the Arctic. I guess it just added these areas to prevent the game from being boring, and to prevent real children from thinking that the entire game is essentially exactly the same from beginning to end.
Which it is.
Throughout the game, you get to choose between whether to control Mike or Sulley.
Yes, my friend, and the same to you. But who's scarier, Sulley or Mike? Give me your all, guys. Sulley, you go first. Okay, that was scary enough. I liked it. Let's see if Mike measures up.
Booga, 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 booga! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Not quite as effective, are we, Mike? Perhaps we could find somebody to give you some scaring tips. But who? Oh, I know!
The first goal, of course, is to scare 5 nerves to achieve the bronze medal. The urban training ground sees you scout the park, the city centre, the docks, and the marketplace for nerves, avoiding and destroying the so-called pesky toys that stand in your way. Now, the game is repetitive, but I have to admit I do like the fact that the nerves don't just stand there waiting to be scared. They actually engage in activities, such as building sandcastles or looking through telescopes. The PS1 version is surprisingly better at executing this. For example, one nerve in the park can be seen swinging on the climbing frame, while in the PS2 version, he's doing,
God only knows.
The city centre level sees you having to access the rooftops via a toy store.
Ah, the dreaded toy store. I got lost in one of those as a baby once. Of course, since toys are your enemy, the toy store is no doubt teeming with foes. Right? Well, that was a wasted opportunity.
Indeed, in both versions of the game, there are two toys. Or rather, 2 clones of the same toy.
It's such variety! You know, as if it wasn't underwhelming enough already.
Every level follows the same formula. Scare 5 nerves for the bronze medal and you're rewarded with a movie clip. Once all bronze medals are achieved in one area, you get to challenge Randall to a race for no reason.
No reason at all!
Ensuring you collect enough monster tokens along the way. The first of these is Urban Pursuit. Mike, of course, simply rolls down the road with ease, while Sulley, that do-off sound painful. And I'm not sure if it's just me, but the PS1 version seems easier to control, and it doesn't help that the PS2 version is almost intolerably dark. Did they forget to add lighting or something? Oh, and I swear this jump is so much easier to miss time. I seem to have a serious problem knowing how close I am to the edge.
I blame the one eye. No depth perception.
Once you've unlocked a race, you can replay it by talking to Randall, who you can see somewhere on Scare Island. Try selecting a race before having unlocked it, and this happens.
Oh, you tease! And I must say, that was one hell of a good evil laugh. But still not as good as...
Once again, the PS1 version is strangely more impressive here. It may just be a small detail, but here Randall can be seen physically roaming around the island. You can also hit him and he scurries away. The PS2 version, by comparison, is bizarrely rather flat. Randall just seems to stand there on a raised platform, barely moving at all. Nothing happens if you try to attack him, there's no hit detection whatsoever. It's really quite disappointing. The same goes for attempting to attack nerves. Here's the PS1 game. And here's the PS2. thrilling. Anyway, one thing I neglected to mention is that after achieving the bronze medals for the urban training grounds, you unlock the trampoline, which means you can now return to the areas in the urban field and use the trampolines you couldn't before. You can now access the path to the treehouse in the park, where Randall waits for you and throws barrels down the ramp towards you. Once you reach him, he vanishes without a trace. In the PS1 version, quite literally.
Okay, so it looked a little crummy, didn't it? You couldn't quite tell whether he was camouflaging himself or if the graphics were just glitching out. Still, I'm sure the PS2 version will look much better.
Oh my god, what?
They didn't even try! Lame, lame, lame!
The ability to access a trampoline means you can now complete the urban field, achieve the silver medal, and a final nerve will manifest somewhere in the level, enabling you to achieve the gold. Anyway, let's move on to the desert training grounds. The fuck is this?
What am I looking at? The draw distance is so bad I can't see what I'm looking at. PS2, enlighten us!
Ah, it's a Waterloo-style Sphinx. That was a mouthful. The objective is to copy the button patterns to release the nerves from the mouth of the Sphinx, although for some reason in the PS2 version they fall from way up here.
Just an observation.
Anyway, a similar task appears at the beginning of the Oasis level, requiring you to jump on the coloured lily pads in the correct order. As I said before, the setting is pretty much meaningless, but it does mean we get some funky tunes. Oh, and we also get some exotic toy enemies, such as scorpions, snakes, lizards, and flying saucers.
Deserts. Flying saucers. Really not getting the connection here.
The tomb requires you to find a way to enter a tomb.
Duh.
Only the PS2 version is so dark I can barely see what's going on.
I can't see!
This level also contains a lot of platforming,
Which is always jolly good fun.
The most annoying level for me has to be the pyramid. It sees you climbing the 4 faces of the pyramid to find the nerves. Each side has its own hazards. For example, one is home to some toy cobras, while another side is practically falling apart. The annoying aspect of this level is a constant need to start over. Even if you do make it to the top without fail, chances are the first time around you won't have enough ooze for the nerves and will need to start again anyway. In this case, often your best bet is to ironically throw yourself off the pyramid, being as this only sees you lose a fraction of your health, somehow. Oh, also, this might go over the heads of some viewers outside the UK, but this music always reminds me of a show called Time Team. I'm half expecting Tony Robinson to pop out and take us on an archaeological dig or something. Oh, hello! Achieve all bronze medals and you unlock the speed boosts, which open up more areas. Oh, and Randall wants a race again. Sorry, Sulley. You might want to think about investing in some cream. And the PS2 version seems confused over what the title is to this level. It's called Desert Pursuit, Desert Race, Desert Monster Pursuit.
Which is it, man? I have to know!
Fortunately, you can cool off your big blue hairy monster bum in the final training grounds, the Arctic, adorned with yet more enemies, including snowmen, exploding alarm clocks, and angry penguin, angry penguin. Phew! And not only that, but in this field, even the nerves try to hurt you by pelting you with snowballs and dropping rocks on you.
I'm gonna booger you so hard.
Sugar Shack sees you locate and find a way to enter a lone log cabin, while the Iceberg sees you having to find a way to enter a secret igloo entrance leading to a big castle. In Hot Springs, you need to navigate the caverns and activate the geysers to find the nerves, avoiding some hard-to-spot icicles suspended from the ceiling. Ouch! They're almost as lethal as the stalactites from the Haunted River in Bugs and Taz. And finally, the ski lift sees you make your way to the top of the slope, where you apparently snowboard down. Forget your skis, guys. Woohoo! Complete this field and you're rewarded with the fling shot. Now you can return to all areas and access everything. Retrieve all the tokens and scare all the nerves. That is, not before another race with Randall. Yay.
He cheated! Well, I never. Alright then, 2 can play at that game.
Anyway, complete the game 100% and you're rewarded with gold medals at the final ceremony by Waternoose himself.
Isn't that lovely? And to top it off, we're also rewarded with one final movie clip. Let's take a look.
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, and I'll silence anyone who gets in my way.
Whoa, didn't you just give me an award? Jesus, man. What, you bipolar or something? No need to get crabby. Oh.
Amazing.
Okay, so the game isn't outstanding, but it controls decently, and it is pretty fun, if very repetitive. The use of 3 diverse settings really helps to alleviate some of the tedium, as well as the game's short length. There are some minor differences between the PS1 and PS2 copies, nothing too major, but I have to say I actually find the PS1 version to be marginally better. While the PS2 version contains more scares, the PS1 version is brighter, more colourful, parts of it are inexplicably easier to control, and it contains less glitches and more subtle details that convey a more engrossing environment. That said, whichever version you decide to play, you're not missing out on a fat lot. Ultimately, Scare Island is good, but not scarily so.
Hit it, Mike.
It's not easy being green. It caught on in a flash. They did the monster mash.
And now, an important announcement.
Okay, so it's the big day. It's the inflatable obstacle course in Birmingham that I've been talking about since the chicken run video. And I'm shitting myself. We were hoping to raise a little bit for Fight for Sight, and we've wound up raising way more than we intended. Thanks to everybody, we've raised over 450 quid, and we're so happy about that, and very, very grateful. Wish us luck.
On the 16th of June, my friends and I took part in the Gung Ho inflatable obstacle course in Birmingham, UK, to raise money for Fight for Sight and children in need. We wound up raising more than a whopping £450 for Fight for Sight, and are exceedingly grateful to all those who donated. There's still time to donate if you're interested. Thank you so much, everybody. We had a blast. I'll be back soon with a new review. Bye-bye for now.